Just wish to make an open statement at this time or reserve?
Yes, Your Honor, we wish to make an open statement.
Speak.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Aaron Jansen. I'm a public defender, and I represent Mr. Eric Holder Jr. My co-counsel is Justin Clayton, who's also a public defender. This is a case about heat of passion, and I'll get to that in a minute. But let's get to first things first. On March 31st, 2019, Eric Ronald Holder Jr. shot and killed Nipsey Hussle on Slauson and Crenshaw in front of the clothing store, Marathon Clothing. A bullet accidentally hit Mr. Latham, and Mr. Villanueva may have been grazed. We're not sure. He didn't give a statement to the officers. He refused to be interviewed. He refused any medical treatment. So we're not even sure if the bullet grazed him or if he scraped against something else. 3 days later, on April 2nd, 2019, Eric Holder Jr. surrendered himself to Telecare, which is a mental health clinic in the city of Bellflower. It was there that he was arrested without incident. So the heat of passion in this case relates to snitching, an accusation by Nipsey Hussle that Mr. Eric Holder Jr. was a snitch. Growing up, we all know, we learn at an early age in kindergarten and through our parents not to be a tattletale. Nobody likes a tattletale. In the adult world, we have people who are tattletales, or people who we call brown noses or kiss asses. At work, they'll go and tell the boss on other coworkers who violate the rules. In the gang world and in the criminal world, there are images from movies, Scarface, where rats or snitches have gotten their just desserts, so to speak.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to these images are not evidence in the case. This is pure argument.
Let's proceed with what you expect the evidence to show, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. So what we're talking about here is the criminal street gang of the Rolling 60s, also known as the Neighborhood Crips. It's the largest street gang in Los Angeles. And Eric Holder Jr. was a part of the Rolling 60s, and so was Nipsey Hussle. Now, Nipsey Hussle was born in 1985, and Eric Holder was born in 1989, so he was 4 years older than Eric Holder. And Nipsey Hussle left his mother's house at the age of 14, and he got jumped into the gang, into the Rolling 60s. So let's hear what he had to say about that process, about getting jumped in or initiated into the Rolling 60s.
Counsel, please.
This is a case about heat of passion. And the provocative act in this case was that Nipsey Hussle had made an accusation against Mr. Holder that he was a snitch. That so inflamed and enraged Mr. Holder, the evidence will show that Without thinking, and a few minutes later, a mere 9 minutes or so later, Mr. Holder returned and shot Mr. Askedon. He did not have time to cool off. The evidence will show that it was very soon after this accusation was made publicly against him that he was so enraged and triggered by this emotional response that he acted without premeditating. That's what the evidence will show. And the evidence will show that while he's charged with first-degree premeditated deliberate murder, in fact, it should be voluntary manslaughter because he was acting under heat of passion. He's also charged in counts 2 and counts 4 with first-degree premeditated attempted murder against Mr. Latham and against his nephew, Mr. Villanueva. The evidence will show that Mr. Holder had no intent to harm or to kill either one of those individuals. They were just close by in the parking lot when this happened. The evidence will show that he didn't know either Mr. Villanueva or Mr. Latham. He had no harsh words with either one of those individuals, and they had no harsh words or anything, conversation with him that would trigger him to try to kill these other two individuals, let alone that Mr. Holder had the state of mind where he premeditated and deliberated killing these other two individuals. That thought never even entered his mind. There'll be no evidence that they had anything between them, that they didn't even know each other. So based on that, we're going to ask you to keep an open mind, listen to all of the evidence. Don't make up your mind in the beginning. Wait until you hear all of the evidence so that you can make a rational, fair, and just verdict. Wait until you get the jury instructions from the court. And when you get in the back and start deliberating, we're confident that you will come back with a verdict of not guilty of first-degree murder against Mr. Askedon, and also not guilty for the two attempted murders against Mr. Latham and Mr. Villanueva. Thank you.
All right, thank you. People sign the first witness.
People call Herman Douglas.